There is still time to get planning reform right. I believe planning reforms should keep local communities firmly in charge, having localism at their very heart. The Oxford to Cambridge ARC concept is top-down, centralised planning, an approach that I simply cannot endorse or support. This proposal simply reinforces the hamster wheel of planning doom in the south, where more housing in the past means more housing in the future. Levelling up needs to mean ensuring all parts of our United Kingdom are economically vibrant. Oxcam just seeks to be a stronger magnet to bring people south. Getting the expressway scrapped was a hard-earned victory. I want to thank everybody at this conference who campaigned so hard to be a part of that victory. The enormous devastation the expressway would have caused to Buckinghamshire countryside was totally unacceptable. Unfortunately, the demise of the expressway does not mean the demise of the desire by some to build yet more houses. Recent government documents about the ARC are reluctant to mention a specific housing target for the ARC. Those documents, however, repeat the same economic ambitions that the ARC plans originally had. And we all know how many homes were talked about at the start: 1 million. I've always been clear. I oppose any further take of our Buckinghamshire countryside, agricultural land, greenfield sites, for any form of development. Bluntly, we've taken far more than our fair share of house building already, at considerable environmental loss. Those of us like me who are opposed to HS2 witness on a daily basis the horrors of that unwanted, unneeded, and unaffordable railway being built. 1 million new houses between Oxford and Cambridge by 2050 equates to 300,000 a year for the next 30 plus years in an area that is currently delivering only half that number per year with current local plans. All those homes need infrastructure: schools, clinics, hospitals, water and electricity supplies, waste and sewage. For example, 1 primary school is required for every 800 new houses. That's 1,250 such schools across the ARC for those 1 million houses that those who support the ARC want to build by 2050. Developers make only minimal contributions to the real cost of infrastructure, which is ultimately borne by the government, and that is to say, by all of us as taxpayers. We have heard about expressways and railways, but what people, I think, really care about in terms of infrastructure are things like, can I get an appointment with my doctor when my child is sick? Can I get my son or daughter into a great local school? That is what people want to hear across the Oxford to Cambridge ARC and in the rest of the country. Imperative to good planning is the identification, coordination, and significant spending on good infrastructure. Current infrastructure across Buckinghamshire is already in need of increased spending, not least much needed new health centres in Buckingham, Long Crendon and Princes Risborough. And existing planned local growth will create further pressures before any ARC-related development. The proposed development over such a vast area will not aid better local planning, but create an additional tier of bureaucracy, cost and remoteness to the planning system, and is contrary to much of the new Secretary of State's for Housing's initial and welcome comments on planning reform. COVID, the levelling up promise, and net zero pledges have changed the economic landscape, pulling in different and confusing directions since the ARC was first proposed. It is vital, in order to avoid another HS2 money pit and environmental disaster, we must must reassess the country's economic and environmental priorities and examine alternative strategies for resilience and growth. The Arc geography, for a start, is simply not a natural fit. There is very little in common between Princes Risborough and Peterborough, Buckingham and Bedford, or Winslow and Wellingborough. Concerns about this were raised some time ago when Buckinghamshire Council bravely withdrew from the informal and ineffectual Arc Leaders Board, which I fear will morph into another unaccountable body within the proposed Arc growth body. The Arc concept would potentially result in non-locally imposed targets and decisions about Buckinghamshire's future taken by votes from other areas as far away as Corby and the Fenlands. From my personal experience, good and worthy opportunities are rarely dictated by government-defined geographies. If I may be a little bit political for a moment, to me the Oxford to Cambridge Arc is a fundamentally socialist exercise in central state planning, a Blairite top-down plan to be imposed on people in the region whether they like it or not. I thought we'd won that war, but we still have to fight it. I've argued for the protection of greenbelt spaces, agricultural land, our open countryside, since I first entered politics, and I will continue to do so forcibly. A recent CPRE report, Beauty Still Betrayed, revealed that since 2017, 85% of houses built on greenfield sites in the southeast and southwest of our country were built within areas of outstanding natural beauty, a category of land that is supposed to be protected from housing. Alongside a number of parliamentary colleagues, I have lobbied the government at all levels to ensure that a brownfield only policy is written into the new planning bill. We urgently need new protections for our countryside. And as much as I totally oppose any further loss of our countryside, I must say that I am of the opinion that it would be equally criminal not to redevelop, to regenerate the old, disused industrial sites and other inner city and inner town areas that are suitable for house building. The urban regeneration of brownfield sites has to be not just the priority, but the only option for house building. Now, the government is absolutely right to focus on the core fundamental conservative principle that everyone at every age should have the opportunity to own their own home. That is something we all want to do. And we want to do it in a way that is supported by local communities, as I say, with a priority on brownfield development. And planning more widely should be environment-led. Low density greenfield housing is unsuitable on so many levels. Yet it is argued that as many as 400,000 homes are still planned on greenfield sites in the south in the next 5 years. We need housing targets reduced in the south to stem the flood of high-density development, which is creating immense pressures on our commuter areas in particular. I recognise the need for more homes nationwide, but I'm concerned that ministers have not considered the implications of 1 million, or frankly any number, of new homes and the impact on existing communities, on the natural environment, on biodiversity, and on levels of pollution if we build 1 million homes in the Oxford to Cambridge arc. How do we balance the needs of the local environment? What kind of homes? We need homes for young people just starting out, and homes for nurses, teachers, train drivers, supermarket workers, social carers. We need that plan for affordable homes within this setting. Now, Buckinghamshire is a beautiful county, and our stunning natural and historic landscapes are home to local, national, and internationally recognised spaces and habitats. Over a quarter of our county is in the Chilterns area of outstanding natural beauty, and the metropolitan Greenbelt covers a further third. The need to deliver new homes and associated infrastructure for our growing population has to be sensible, responsible, and sustainable, benefiting And that's the key word, benefiting the existing local areas. Buckinghamshire's historic environment plays a significant role in what makes our area so special. Local distinctiveness or identity is influenced by historic buildings and archaeology, patterns of settlement, fields and landscapes, townscape and street forms, all of which contribute to a unique sense of place that is appreciated by residents, workers and visitors alike. The historic environment has the potential to be a powerful driver for economic growth, attracting inward investment and tourism, and providing a focus for successful regeneration. Alongside the best in new design, the historic fabric of a place is an essential element in creating distinctive, enjoyable and successful places in which to live, work or visit. Heritage can also be a significant focus for local communities, helping to bring people together and define those local identities. The concept of the Oxcam Arc simply cannot respect such values. They are imperative to delivering a thriving, resilient and successful Buckinghamshire. We can win this battle, but it needs everyone to show the strength of feeling locally. I do not believe that my constituents want local planning to take an arc-wide view. They want it to take a local view. If democracy is to mean anything, it should mean that affected people can say no to developments that will fundamentally change the place that they live. We can move forward in a positive way, meeting the demand for housing across our United Kingdom, but also preserving our green spaces.